Welcome to r/idontworkherelady, where we share stories about folks that are mistaken for employees by irate customers. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our awesome community. And now, without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. Entitled parents should not bring small children on haunted hayrides and expect others to calm their kids down. Someone in Entitled People thought this post would make a good fit here, so I'm posting it. It might be long, not sure. This happened about a year or two ago. I used to live in a community that sometimes one could get signed up for events that a group of people would go on together. And during the Halloween season, several of us wanted to go on a hayride. As it was my last year before I moved out, I decided to go too. So myself and a handful of people went to this hayride, though I'm not close to any of them. Upon getting there, it is a pretty normal trip. We had a group leader who was in charge of tickets, we had someone in charge of snacks and such, and somehow I ended up being in charge of calming people down if they got too scared. There was this one girl whom lived next door to me and wanted to go, but was a huge chicken, so she was already clutching my arm scared. I would pet her head and say soothing things and pretty much explain what all the scary things were, or pretty much denied they were there for her. This calmed her down, but yeah, she was still clutching my arm. This continued onto the hayride. I was trying to calm her down as she was already spooked and complimented her for trying so hard to learn about something new. Seriously, this girl had no clue about hayrides and wanted to know because people kept raving about them. She only stopped when we saw a young woman and man get onto the hayride with children that were clearly too young for it. For crying out loud, she was breastfeeding the smallest one while we waited for the ride to start. The family sat next to me near the front of the hayride. This was a tactic seating, since less scariers stick around the front part. Yes, you get scared first, but if you have a good eye you can spot the scares before they happened. So I looked at the small children and said, "Hello, how old are you two? Are you excited? Do you watch horror?" I asked, trying to gauge their possible fear level, since what scared me more was if I was gonna be with constant screamers. The girl smiled. "I'm 5, said the smaller of the two first. "I'm 8. Mommy said we are strong kids," said the bigger of the two. The mother and father were not paying attention to their kids at all and were talking about the ride to each other. I sighed, knowing I was not gonna have a fun ride. I already had to calm down one person. I was now worried I would have to calm down more. My neighbor clung to my arm, whispering her fears in my ears as the hayride shook about going down the path. We came to the person whom told us about the ride and its rules. I felt small hands creeping onto my other arm and one of my legs. I sighed, this was my fate. Nothing scary yet, and now 3 people were clinging to me, scared. Why? I don't know. I explained to them that person was not gonna do anything to them. After the introduction, the hayride really started. Whoosh! Flames from the first scare part. A trio of screams as I became sandwiched between 3 people clinging to me as they screamed. I reassured them and sighed. The 8-year-old was clinging my arm. Excuse me, if you're gonna cling to me, can I have my one arm free? You can grab your waist or my jacket or even my leg. I need to be able to signal that you are too scared to scare to the staff if you or the others are. I would tell her, but she has not let go even when I did tell her, I said to the kid. The girl grabbed the waistband of my jacket and curled up under my arm as her sister now climbed onto my lap, hiding her face in my chest. I waved to the parents. "Your children are scared. Want to do something about it?" I called over to them. I did this a few times during the calmer moments, but when there were scares, I was calming down the 3 females clinging to me. 2 of which were kids that I did not know and my full-grown adult neighbor. The parents ignored me each time I tried to get their attention, so I gave up after a while and focused on the fact that the girls clinging to me were terrified. I did each of my tricks to calm down the trio. I spoke kindly and softly, I explained things and even told them when not to look. When scariers jumped onto the hayride, I would give them the no scare signal, which I had asked one of the ride operators about beforehand. They were very nice and understanding. I even acted scared with them so they did not feel foolish. Got to say, it was exhausting and not fun. The hayride ended after an hour or so, not sure. It felt like forever to me. The people started to get off. That was when the parents noticed their kids at last.
Kids, can you let go of the worker? The hayride is done. Did you have fun with the nice scaremaster lady?
Said the father. The girls let me go and thanked me. Excuse me, what? I don't work here, I said, but the father and mother were not listening. They were already walking off with their kids, whom were waving bye to me. I had no idea what they were thinking. I struggled to get off as my neighbor was still clinging onto me, crying. Not sure how she was more scared than the kids and was still scared. An employee asked me how the ride was as I got off. Apparently I work here, so it sucked. I did not get to enjoy it at all, thanks to... I started.
Glad you had a great time,
said the employee before they went to ask another person what they thought. I and my neighbor rejoined the group from before.
Didn't know you were meeting friends. You should have told us, said the leader of the group.
I wasn't. They thought I worked here. Can we go home now? I asked, more tired than I should have been. When I got home, I found marks on my arms, legs and torso from the trio clinging to me too hard. In the end, no one really listened to me and I did not get to enjoy anything. So yeah, next time I'm going with a friend only. To be honest, I've never heard of that hayride thing before, but apparently it's a very traditional American/Canadian thing. By the way, Ripe Stars, are you fans of horror movies or even TV shows? Which ones do you enjoy the most? I think one of the horror shows that I enjoyed the most recently was definitely American Horror Story. If you haven't seen it already, the Asylum season is absolutely perfect. But anyway, let's continue. And don't forget to give me some horror movie/series suggestion in the comments. I already said I don't work for you, leave me be. This happened a few hours ago and I decided to post this here while it is still fresh in my memory. Also, here's the obligatory excuse since English is not my primary language, which is kinda important for this one. I live in Rio de Janeiro and had to sort some business downtown. And I was already making my way back home when I get approached by what I assumed was an American tourist. I think he must be American, mostly because of his accent and how incredibly loud he was. Here is the cast: E.T., not the alien, just an entitled tourist, and me. Entitled tourist:
Hey you kid, I need to go back to the hotel, drive me back there now.
Me, noticing he was a tourist: I don't work for any hotels and it's quite dangerous to ask strangers on the streets of a foreign country to take you anywhere. There is an information counter in this building where they may help you. Entitled tourist:
No, I know you work for the...
redacted
hotel, and I will have your head if you don't take me back there this instant.
Me, sorry, but I already said I don't work for any hotels or for you. Excuse me. I made my way to the metro station only to find out that the tourist followed me there and he was mad. I sprinted to the turnstile, used my pass to get through it and stopped to watch what happened to the tourist from the other side. He stopped chasing me right after I got through the turnstile and was gesturing obscenities at me, and while he was doing so, he left his backpack on the floor. Then, in a godly act of instant karma, someone stole his backpack. I burst out laughing and get on the train and make my way home without any other incidents. Ripe Stars, have you ever had any of your stuff stolen in public? For me, even when I travel to any foreign countries, that thankfully never ever happened to me. But tell me in the comments, maybe it's different for you. I'm Asian, so I must work here. Quick story, I am from Hawaii and I am part Chinese. I was visiting San Francisco with my family a few months ago and we went to Westminster Mall. We went down to the food court to grab a quick bite. When we were done, I picked up our trays and put them away. Upon returning to our table, the woman at the table next to us turns to me and hands me her tray. She says,
"Can you take this please?"
In the moment I hesitated, I could see her instant irritation. So for shits and giggles, I took it and placed it on the cart of an actual employee passing by and returned to my seat. By now, my daughter, husband, and I are all giggling. The kind that you cannot stop. It was obvious that because I was Asian, she assumed I worked there, which I picked up on as soon as she handed me her tray. To her credit, she apologized but could not quite give me a reason why she thought I worked there. We still get a good laugh about it, maybe you had to be there. Interestingly enough, someone in the comments said, "Who the F expects table service at a food court?" Obviously only Karen. But then again, I have seen table service at food courts who take away the dirty plates quite a few times. Either way, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some stars in the comments and like the video to support me. And if you want to help me out even more, please press on the bell notification next to the subscribe button, because lately YouTube likes to forget to show my videos to my subscribers. Not my dolly to give away. This sort of fits because the relevant guy either did not understand or did not get that I did not work there. I used to be a mail carrier, but as a rural carrier, never mind the fact that most of my delivery area was not actually rural, I did not have to wear a uniform. One day, my boss sent me to the UPS store to pick up the outgoing mail and packages. Since it was around Christmas time, there was quite a bit, so I borrowed a dolly from the store to help load everything onto my truck. After I unloaded my first load onto the truck, a random customer saw my empty dolly and asked if I could use it. I tried explaining that, no, it was not my personal dolly and was not mine to give away since I did not work there. I did not want to be on the hook in case he ran off with it and did not want to stand around waiting for him to return it. Not to mention, I still needed it. He did not accept that answer and kept arguing with me when I tried to explain several times that it was not mine to give away. He started following me into the store and yelling about how I was racist for not letting him use the dolly right in front of staff and other customers. The staff at the store did not say a word, which kind of pissed me off. When I got back to the office, I filled out an official incident report just to cover myself in case he tried reporting me for something stupid. My boss, who was the same race as the angry man, asked me what had happened and I explained. She just said, "People are stupid." Have you guys ever been in a situation where you went to a restaurant and then out of nowhere someone started bothering you, maybe an annoying guest or an outsider, and the restaurant staff did not do anything to help you? Feel free to tell us in the comments. Manager, fire this worker, time to have some fun. A brief background, I'm Middle Eastern who live in the United Arab Emirates in the capital of Abu Dhabi. I'm a local, but I don't look it as my mother is from Egypt and I would get mistaken for other nationalities very often. On to the story, my niece got a new pet about a month ago from one of her friends, a 5-month-old German Shepherd, and she's the cutest thing ever in my opinion. Unfortunately, the friend did not bring enough food for the puppy, so I went the next day to a hypermarket nearby to buy some for her. I was told she liked a particular brand, so I decided to go inside without a cart or basket to see if they had it, then go back out for a cart. On my way to the pet food aisle, I heard shouting and yelling from close by, and out of curiosity, I went to check it out. I saw one of the workers and a wild Karen. While she did not look like a Karen, she sure as hell acted like one, screaming at the poor guy about how
incompetent and rude he is,
and
ignoring her when she was trying to get his attention.
And of course, she was yelling for a manager. That is when she turned around and locked eyes with me and made a beeline to where I was. Now keep in mind, the worker's uniform is a yellow or light blue shirt with the hypermarket name on it in big letters. And the managers wear full suits. I was wearing black jeans and a dark blue shirt. Also, the majority of the staff were either from India or the Philippines. Now for the cast: OL, obnoxious lady, PW, poor worker, M, manager, and me, yours truly. Obnoxious lady:
You, manager, this employee of yours was very rude to me. He ignored me when I was trying to get his attention for 10 minutes and is refusing to help me and yelled at me. I want him fired.
The first thought that came to my mind was to tell her that I did not work there, but after seeing the condition PW was in, I decided to have some fun. Now my English has a good American accent, but I also have a fairly decent Indian accent, so without hesitation I switched my accent to Indian mode. Me: I'm sorry ma'am, we've had many complaints about this problem worker, don't worry, I will discipline him. And as a form of apology, please go about your shopping and at the cashier just give them my name, Roger Patel, and tell them I approved a 40% discount on the total sum for you. OL.
At least management knows how to treat paying customers.
I went to PW, grabbed his arm and started walking away, berating him along the way until we made a turn and we were out of sight of the OL. That's when the PW said, "Am I in trouble?" It seems PW was new and also mistook me for a manager and he thought he was going to be fired. Poor guy. Me, laughing, "I'm not a manager and you're not in any trouble. I just want to get you away from her." And I walked away, waving goodbye at him. I grabbed a card and went on to buy my puppy her chow and some other things for her, some toys, a new collar, a leash and a comfy bed and some other items for myself. After I grabbed what I needed, I made my way to the cashier. That's when I heard a familiar screaming and yelling. And sure enough, there was OL arguing with one of the cashiers and an actual manager, trying to convince them that she was allowed the huge discount on all her items, a full card's worth, while I was laughing on the inside. Then she spotted me, pointed at me and yelled, "OL,
That's him. That's Roger Patel, the manager who approved my discount."
The manager and cashier both looked at me with confusion in their eyes, and the manager said, "Manager, ma'am, this gentleman doesn't work here." OL,
"Yes, he does. Why else would he give me the discount? He was even disciplining one of your workers."
M and OL made their way to me, and I acted like I did not know what was going on. Manager pointing at OL, "Excuse me, sir, do you know this lady?" Me switching on my American accent, No, I've never seen this woman before." OL,
"You're lying. I talked to you about that lazy rude worker of yours. And you gave the discount as an apology."
Me, "Lady, do I look like I work here? I'm a customer just like you." It was at that moment PW walked by, OL pointed at him and said,
"There, that's the worker that I complained about to this manager."
M called PW over and asked him, "Have you seen the gentleman as the lady before?" PW looked at me and OL and said, "No sir, I haven't." OL,
"Don't lie. I was talking to you 30 minutes ago when you refused to help me."
PW, "Ma'am, this is the first time I'm seeing you or this gentleman. Maybe you have me confused with another worker." M nodded and told PW to go back to his work, and as PW walked away, he looked at me with a smile and a thumbs up. OL was fuming with a face that was redder than a ripe tomato. I turned to M, me, "Sir, you're obviously wearing a suit like all the other managers working here, and I'm wearing casual. Who in their right mind would confuse a customer with a worker or manager?" M, in an agreeing nod, "Sorry to disturb you, sir. Have a nice day." I nodded back, paid for my items and walked away, with OL still screaming and cussing until M ended up calling security to escort her out of the building, and I went home with the puppy chow, the rest of her stuff and biggest grin on my face. Definitely always nice to hear some international I Don't Work Here lady stories, and to be honest, I wish there were more of them. But anyway, let's continue on to the last story for today. I do actually work here, sir. Pretty short one, but I thought it was amusing. So 2 or 3 years ago, I was a revenue office assistant at a major Midwest zoo. One of my jobs was to, once or twice a week, go around to all of the vending machines in the zoo, remove the bills, replace any change that was running low, and make a note of products that wear out. Usually, I would be driven to each location by a security officer with a golf cart due to not wanting to walk miles around a massive zoo alone with a bag full of money. Not to mention, it was often super hot outside, and not having to walk around in restrictive dress pants in 100+ Fahrenheit heat was a blessing. Plus, most of the security staff were pretty cool and I liked hanging out with them if I could. It was a fairly busy day at the zoo and I was being driven to one of the really far away machines by my favorite security guard. We passed a few people on the path and he dropped me off at the machine so I could get to work. I pulled out my keys to start opening up the exterior door of the vending machine as the people we passed caught up to us. I hear the guy say to his wife,
"Oh look, he's special."
Then louder to me,
"Well, aren't you special?"
I shot him a confused look and kept working.
"You get to be escorted just to get a soda."
His wife kind of tugged on his sleeve and mumbled, "Honey, I think she works here." But he didn't care. He was ready to go off on me. I unlocked the first lock and went to unlock the second.
"Don't we all wish we could have our own cop too?"
I finished unlocking the door and swung it open while making eye contact with him.
"Oh,"
he says and rushes off. Avoiding eye contact with me, his wife again says, "I told you she worked here." I have no idea how it was not obvious I was an employee. Despite not wearing a zookeeper uniform, I still had a zoo name badge, a photo ID on my belt, a radio, a zoo-issued cash bag and a big set of keys. The security officer was silently watching the whole thing and we had a good laugh about it. I hope Mr. Sodaman made a stop by the petting zoo later to relieve some stress. And unfortunately, this was the last story for today. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, don't forget to give me some stars. I hope you have a fantastic day and I see you again tomorrow.